I don't know about you, but it sure sounded like a threat to me.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions.
Oh, my goodness. Imagine Mitch McConnell threatening Kagan or Sotomayor, or for goodness sakes, the notorious RBG. It would literally be the end of the world. You won't know what hit you. You will pay the price. It would be the end of the world. But Schumer's threat for his party really is par for the course, isn't it?
And so let's stay the course. Let's make sure we show up wherever we have to show up. And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
Just how dangerous can this rhetoric be?
Captured on cell phone video, the chilling moment that rapid gunfire broke out in Alexandria this morning.
Shots being fired, and there are people running, possibly victims involved.
An all-out gun battle as Capitol Hill police and Alexandria officers engaged a lone gunman, 66-year-old James Hutchinson, targeting Republican members of Congress who were practicing for a charity baseball game.
We need medics. We got a suspect right by the baseball field in front of the YMCA. There's also a victim down in the baseball field.
Among the first to be hit, Republican whip Steve Scalise.
He's drug himself from the dirt infield to the grass outfield. There's a trail of blood. We can't help him. We're helpless. I mean, we've got bats versus rifle.
I have just been informed that the alleged shooter at the Republican baseball practice this morning is someone who apparently volunteered on my presidential campaign. I am sickened by this despicable act, and let me be as clear as I can be. Violence of any kind is unacceptable in our society, and I condemn this action in the strongest possible terms.
Just how bad is this Trump derangement syndrome?
Emily, the mother of the teenager, does not want to be identified, but she does want to share a message that this incident should serve as a call to stop the hate.
Things are out of control and it needs to stop.
A New Hampshire mother is calling for calm. Her son was attacked outside Windham High School where voters were casting ballots on primary day.
State versus Patrick Bradley.
Police say 34-year-old Patrick Bradley slapped the 15-year-old who was volunteering with a group of Trump supporters.
Half his face is purple. His eyesight blurry, and he says it is all because of what he was wearing on his head. An art gallery owner claims that he was brutally attacked because he was wearing a Make America Great hat again.
And he says a group of teens jumped him as he was heading to catch a train, and they left him looking like that.
It's a pandemic, and there doesn't seem to be a vaccine.
Leave the store.
Here's where you're at.
Leave the store.
Leave
the store.
Here's where
Leave the store. Oh, I don't give a get out. Dude,
go ahead, take another swing at it. Make contact with me one more time. I'm gonna make a deal with you. I want to purchase that vape juice. No. If you sell it to me, I will. If you sell it to me,
no! Go! Get the off in here, man. You can't stand your racist mother.
Racist?
Yeah.
It's true. Right? I'm not a racist.
I got in my store he won't eat. He's wearing some Trump bull. He got some racist bull. I'm not serving anyone that has to do with that.
Here we are at Exhale Vapor City in Tucker, Georgia, and I have just been asked to leave the store. He greeted me. That was nice. I did find the item that I wanted, and the next thing he said was that he'd like me to leave.
If you do not stop recording in my store, I'm going to call the police and ask you to leave now.
Please call the... That would be awesome. That'd be awesome. We can call Fox 5 and all sorts of stuff. I would like to purchase something here. Please do call your boss, because I will be calling corporate.
Go for it.
Sell it to me. Sell it to me. Come on. Ring it up. Ring it up and you don't ruin your life. That's where you're at right now, because you done upset me.
And as for Schumer's threat, here's Mitch McConnell's reaction.
I'm sorry to have to read it into the record. First, he prompted a crowd of left-wing activists to boo 2 of the associate justices, as though Supreme Court justices were professional athletes, and Senator Schumer were jeering from the stands. And then the senior senator from New York said this: I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you've released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions. End quote. Madam President, I'm not sure where to start. There is nothing to call this except a threat. And there's absolutely no question to whom it was directed.
Even CNN said it sounded like a threat.
So a backpedal, not an apology, but a backpedal, says he said he would never issue a threat, but if you just play his words, it sure sounded like a threat.
And actually, you don't really have to parse what Chuck Schumer said. You just have to listen to it. I mean,
Right.
he said, you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you. And he said this specifically to Justice Gorsuch and Justice Kavanaugh.
I mean, of course, Schumer now says, I wasn't directing that threat towards those members of the Supreme Court. It was a political threat directed towards, Republicans.
Now, I should not have used the words I used yesterday. They didn't come out the way I intended to. My point was that there would be political consequences for President Trump and Senate Republicans if the Supreme Court, with the newly confirmed justices, stripped away a woman's right to choose. Of course, I didn't intend to suggest anything other than political and public opinion consequences for the Supreme Court, and it is a gross distortion to imply otherwise. I'm from Brooklyn. We speak in strong language.
Ha! The old I'm from New York, and here's how we roll defense.
Go watch the bites,
Now you can't leave. But you know who wasn't buying it? The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court.
Justices know the criticism comes with the territory, but threatening statements of this sort from the highest levels of government are not only inappropriate, they are dangerous. All members of the court will continue to do their job without fear or favor from whatever quarter.
And Chief Justice Roberts wasn't the only one across the aisle. Here's Democrat, former House member from Tennessee, Harold Ford.
Look, we're at a low point when presidents, Supreme Court justices, and Congress people are going at one another. It's nothing wrong with saying, Schumer to say, I disagree with what you guys are going to do. I hope that you pay attention to the law in the way I see it. And I happen to view it the way he does it. However, you can't incite violence.
I don't think he was smart enough to honestly realize what he had said on February the 13th. But there's a big difference between calling for a judge to recuse himself or herself because of prejudicial statements and attacking a judge saying, I'm coming after you and you're going to pay dearly. That's a threat.
The president has not threatened the safety of individual justices. It's one thing to disagree with opinions. I disagree with Supreme Court opinions. I've criticized Supreme Court justices for some of the rulings. Conservatives used to criticize Justice Souter all the time by name and say we're disappointed, or Justice Kennedy for that matter. That's fine. That's not what Schumer did.
First of all, you look at the words. Everybody concluded that it is a threat. There's no question. What people don't understand is as soon as that happened, it's not necessarily Chuck Schumer. Nobody thinks Chuck Schumer is going to go cause bodily harm to the new Trump justices of the Supreme Court. But it incites people, Harris. People listen to that. People act on that. And you know what the United States Marshal Service did about 10 minutes after these threats went worldwide? They have the problem of protecting federal judges. You better believe that about a dozen U.S. Marshals are now assigned to these two justices, their families, and for the next 6 months, they're going to be monitoring them very, very carefully.
And of course, President Trump had a thing or two to say about all of this.
And as far as Schumer is concerned, that was a terrible thing he said. I was amazed by it. And if that were a Republican, you would see really bad things happening. It's very unequal justice. And it's a disgrace that he was able to say something like that. And he wasn't shielded by the halls of Congress like Schiff was when he lied about my phone call, where he made up a phone call and gave it in Congress. And you immediately say, good, we'll take it to court, but he's got immunity because he's talking in Congress. And so he totally made up it was a fake phone call. He just totally made it up, his speech, and it was disgraceful. Well, Schumer did it outside on the streets in front of a rough crowd. So it was a disgrace to the Supreme Court and to the U.S. Senate.
Again, had Mitch McConnell stood on the steps of the Supreme Court and made threats against Justices Kagan, Sotomayor, and Ginsburg, there would have been a near riot. I mean, remember the reaction of Morgan Freeman, the actor, to Mitch McConnell's determination to make Obama a one-term president? After all, Mitch McConnell is a member of the opposition, and he expressed an opinion that he wanted to oppose Obama. Here's what Morgan Freeman said about that.
Look. The Tea Partiers who are controlling the Republican Party stated, and what's this guy's name? Mitch O'Connell. Is that his name, O'Connell?
Yeah, Mitch McConnell, yeah.
Mitch McConnell. Their stated policy, publicly stated, is to do whatever it takes to see to it that Obama only serves one term. What is that? What underlines that? Screw the country. We're going to do whatever we do to get this black man. We're going to do whatever we can to get this black man out of here.
But is that necessarily a racist thing?
It is a racist thing.
Is it not?
If that's racist, I don't want to think what they would do to Mitch McConnell if he said the same thing about the justices I mentioned earlier. Now, they are working feverishly on a vaccine for the coronavirus. Let's hope they come up with one for Trump derangement syndrome, and real soon. I'm Larry Elder, and we've got a country to save. I'll see you next time.